All right, welcome back, everyone. It's so lovely to see you all as always. And let's go straight into the superpower state to begin with. So take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. And go into your superpower state, however you normally do that, by repeating your word or phrase, or using your anchor, or focusing on something or someone you love. Imagine holding that subject in your arms in a hug and all the things you love about them. And start to feel your chest expanding, your heart opening. That expansion feeling, home in on that. And allow that light or energy to shine out from your heart. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy, that love. And now allow that light or energy to fill the little you, yourself as a child, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Love that child, that little you, just for existing. Very good. And allow that light or energy to overflow from that child, from that little you, and fill your whole childhood. All the people, the things, the events, the circumstances, love it all anyway, exactly as it is, shining that light into any darkness. This is your power. Very, very good. And now allow that light, that energy to fill everyone in the group today, everyone who's on this call today, whether they're on camera or off camera. Fill each one with that light, that energy, that love. Loving each one just for existing. And starting to feel the combination of that power, of everyone doing this together. Very good job. All right, so you can open your eyes if you have them closed. And let's check in with each person. There was something I wanted to mention, but I can't remember now. There was something I was going to share that came to me just before I came on the call, but it may occur to me in a little while. So Monika, let's check in with you. You're first on my screen. So how are you today?
I'm fine today. I worked with Sylvie.
Oh, good. Oh, lovely.
Yes, and it was really, in a good way, overwhelming. Yes.
Okay. So just for anyone who's watching the recording or who's on this call who doesn't know who Sylvie is, in the episode before, 2 episodes ago, we joined with our French counterpart. Sylvie Debeney is she's French, but she speaks English as well, and she is our first certified practitioner in the Remit method. So we highly recommend her. So thank you, Monika, for sharing that. Sorry, do continue.
Yes, but there are more things to look at.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, but that's what I wanted to say. That was thank you so much, because always having something else, always having more stuff. So what I wanted to say is those who follow Abraham Hicks will know this, this phrase: you'll never get it right and you'll never get it done. Just like you'll never finish brushing your teeth. or eating,
Thank you.
or drinking
Yes.
water, or sleeping. So there are things that we always do. You'll never finish cleaning your house or your car because it continues. So that's the way to look at it, rather than something you have to get done and finish. Sorry. Thank you for that.
Yes. 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 Wonderful. Yes, that's true. Okay, and what my daughter visited me yesterday, and she told me something in her family with her husband, where the old belief is there: the others are guilty, the others are having the guilt. Yes.
Yes.
And yes, and I would like to help her, to support her,
Yes.
but I really don't know how.
Yeah. And that's a very, very challenging place to be. And I think we can all relate to a certain extent. I know I definitely can. When someone you care deeply about is, you feel you can't help them because they need to do it themselves. Really, you can share the information with them and you can offer support, but they have to choose to do it. So the answer is, and this, this I'm speaking from my own experience and our clients' experiences as well. Get yourself into a state of unconditional love first. And we'll do this today. So Steve, could you add Monica's daughter to the target list, please? Thank you. And so you get yourself into the superpower state first, and then you send that to her, that power, that energy, that light, that love. Fill her with it. Imagine her being filled with that light and that love, and loving her exactly as she is. And even if she never changes.
Oh,
Just,
I'm sorry. I have to say, my daughter, she is, with my knowledge, she is looking at the life with, like I see it. But her husband,
oh,
with
it's,
his family, is
okay.
doing this, and so she has the challenge. She is pregnant with her third child, and he he wants it better. She wants a better. Look at the world also for her children, yes, and but her husband is always doing the opposite, and so she has the challenge with him.
I see. Thank you for clarifying that. So Steve,
Uh-huh.
the husband on the list, please. Thank you.
Yes,
So,
thank you.
so then so you do the same thing and still do it with your daughter, still fill her with that light, and then allow that light, that energy to overflow from her and fill him, her husband, exactly as he is. And even if he never changes, shining that light into the darkness. So if you think of his outlook and his beliefs and the way he is as darkness, and we're shining this light, the unconditional love is the light.
Okay.
So okay, so that's what we want to do there. And then and that's really all you can do from your perspective, and she can do that as well.
Okay.
What you can do to help her is share these videos with her.
Okay.
So we'll put the link to the page. In fact, I can do it right now because I've got it here, and we'll also put it in the description. It always is in the description of the videos. I'm going to put it here, Monica, for you. And if you you may already have that page, but if you send her to that page and say to her, if she starts watching from the first one and following along, then it'll help her strengthen, because we can't make someone else change. So we can't make him change
Yes.
by trying to change him. But the brilliant news is that doing the superpower, usually we experience a change in the other person just automatically. So
Okay.
that's the thing. So she really, watches these and follows along with them. And then, she will certainly, what she'll do is change her experience. Does
Thank
that
you.
help?
Yes, yes, that helps very
Good.
much. Thank you.
Yay, you're very welcome. And I'm so glad you're here. Good job. Thank you, Monica. All right. And Swasti, you're up next. How are you today?
Hello, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
I'm feeling a little overwhelmed though with everything. So yeah, like before I had nothing to do, now I have work to do.
Yeah.
So I did the due justice letter yesterday.
Good.
And my grandma, so my mum's mum, did change.
Good.
So I could see her changing like in my head, which is really, really good.
Yeah.
But she's like, she's taken the form of this character who I was used to, like this TV character, who was funny but mean in a funny way.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if that's good or not, but I like this character, so
Okay.
I don't know if I
So
need more work.
yeah, so that's a great stepping stone,
Mhm.
and it's nice that you like the character. But the fact that the character is they may be funny, but the piece that's mean, that bit of data, we need to make sure that that's changed, because the subconscious doesn't have a sense of humor, can't understand sarcasm, so it will just take things literally. So we don't want any meanness. So have you changed her childhood at all?
No, I just did the letter.
So
I haven't
the letter, and she changed automatically. That's great. That's fantastic. So now the next step will be to change her childhood. And by that, I just mean, just imagine her being born to parents that love her and are kind and compassionate. And she was raised with that love and affection. And her parents were, gentle and peaceful and fun and all of that. And then she would automatically become that as well. As a result. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
Good job.
And well, she's also quite like cheeky and laughs at people.
Okay.
Is that also, so changing her childhood, would that also change that?
Well, it depends. So when she's cheeky and she laughs at people, what's the emotion there? What does that feel like?
Why are you laughing? It's I think it's kind of like a rude thing, because she's like sniggering, like
Okay, so you know what that is most likely to be a coping skill. So whatever she went through as a child, one of the coping skills she developed was that thing, that laughing at people, sniggering, because that feels like it's protecting her. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because in the letter I found a reference that she was not, well, I think it came from the subconscious, so it must be that she didn't get the attention she wanted, and she always had to fight for the attention, so she became this person who was like bossing everybody around. That's why she was like this in real life. So
that makes perfect sense. And also, as you're describing that, I'm seeing that would have been painful. So that, becoming that bossiness, because out of not being able to get the attention, having to fight for the attention, that would have been emotionally really painful. And so there's the protection again. She's protecting herself, and it's the way she learned to cope.
So changing her childhood would
definitely. So make sure that you're creating memories of her, getting all the attention she needs. And here's the thing, I've said this before, but I want to say it again for those who are new. Changing your parents' and grandparents' childhoods in order to be able to change them as adults is mostly for the conscious mind.
Yeah.
So, if you just imagine it briefly, like, well, yeah, if she had a better childhood, I can imagine she would have been different. And then you're able to change that memory of her as an adult. That's great. You don't need to create more memories. So you only need to create those memories if you're not able to imagine them differently as an adult. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I can't imagine her differently as an adult.
Yeah. Okay. So do those new memories and just do it and practice them until you're able to imagine her differently as an adult.
Yeah.
But that's how you'll know you've done it enough. Does that sound good?
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent. You're welcome.
And also I have this, so with the IQ test, so whenever I've had grades, like whenever I've done exams, I've always found that no matter what it is, I've always got one bad grade in one subject out. So I did 12 subjects, let's say, and I've got really, like, one subject is bad, and then when I did this IQ test last time, one section is bad, like the lowest of them all, and I'm not happy with that. So I don't know what kind of reference that could be.
All right, so let's have Okay, so let's have a look at it. So the first question is, how does that feel when you think about, that one is always bad? How does that feel to you?
Well, it ruins the rest of them. It makes them look bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's that. And then the second question is, what does that one represent to you? What does it mean? The fact that one's always bad, what does it mean? And number two, if that one, the one that's always bad, or the fact that one's always bad, if that was a person, who would it be?
So I see like mud on a plate, like
Okay, good.
grease on a plate. So
Grease
the
on
plate's
the plate.
shiny because one speck.
Okay, so let's stop there. So the grease on the plate, where in your childhood does that come from? If anywhere, if you can't think of anything, that's okay. But is there anything to do with grease on a plate from your childhood?
No, nothing comes to mind.
Okay, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. We just wanted to check in case there was anything that appears completely unrelated that was tied to it. Okay, so grease on a plate, and what is?
Sorry. I think so. I think it's my grandma compared to her other siblings.
Oh, perfect. And okay, so your grandma compared to her other siblings, just very briefly, what's the difference there? What's the comparison?
Oh, my grandma, well, she was a little uneducated compared to the rest.
Okay. And is this your mum's mum or your dad's mum?
My dad's mum.
Okay. So a different one to the other one, yeah.
Yeah, and so she wasn't, so she was the oldest. Her mother died when she was quite young. She had to lead, she had to take care of the other siblings, and then they didn't respect her. So I did a due justice letter to her yesterday.
Okay.
And that was improvement in that. But I guess I haven't changed this memory yet.
Right, yes. So what you want to end up with is that she was the cleverest.
Okay.
She was the star child. And very importantly, her mum did not die.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so she grew up with her mother. She had the most wonderful, close relationship with her mum. And so because you can imagine how that would have affected who she was if she hadn't lost her mum at that young age. So change that, and so that she is the sort of the star child. Everyone admires her and everything, and she doesn't have to look after anybody. She just has a fantastic childhood and teenage years. Does that sound good? Okay, so that's that. So, and then now I want you to think of the subjects and the fact that always one is not great. There's always one. Okay, so think of that, and what's there now as you think of that? What emotions, thoughts, and any memories that come up?
Well, I see a visual of, well, the grades, and one of them is red, which the bad one is red.
Okay, very good. So let's, when did you first experience that red? So childhood?
I've worked on this so many times. Well, at least I think I have. Once, well, I wasn't used to do too well in India, like in terms of grades, but I remember this particular one where I got 54% in my Hindi exam, which is the language there, because I was never good at it. Yeah, that's the one that comes to mind now.
That's what comes to mind. Perfect. About how old were you?
Less than 7.
Okay. All right, lovely. And so what's there, when you think of that experience now, what's there? You have a picture, sounds, people, what's there?
Yeah, it's a full visual, the atmosphere and everything.
Good.
So coming in through the door and showing it to my grandpa going, oh my God, what is this?
Okay, very good. And out of curiosity, that grandpa, was that your mum's or your dad's dad?
My dad's dad.
I thought it might be.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And was your grandmother there, your dad's mum?
No, my auntie was there.
Your auntie was there. Okay, very good. All right, so let's change that, because that's a big one then.
Yeah.
So because, just a little bit of explanation, that idea of holding at least one piece of it, because if you got all of them, fantastic, grades, right? If you got fantastic grades in all of them, it wouldn't align with that piece of data in your childhood where you got that red, and that was a big impression on your
Yeah.
early impression. It wouldn't align with that. So that's why we want to change that. So let's, so you're going to change your dad's mum, the way we've said, and now you're going to change that experience. So are you able to just imagine it differently? So in other words, you come home from school and it's green, it's whatever it would have been if you got 100%.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Good job, good job. And what happens when you show that 100% to your grandfather?
They hug me. Well, both my grandparents hug me. My grandma comes out from the kitchen and hugs me.
Perfect, good job. And then your aunt, is your aunt there, and how does she react?
Yeah, so they're both to the side, the grandparents, and my auntie's coming front ways, from the front.
And she's happy as well.
Yeah.
She's impressed. Very, very good, Swasti. And so now, of course, practice that new memory until it's established. And you can, as you know, and I'm mainly saying this for other people, keep adding stuff to it. You know, you can add in a present. They went, oh, well done. They gave you a puppy or a doll or a toy or whatever it is. Make it. So what we want to do, and again, I'm saying this for new people, we want to make it extreme the other way. So it's not enough to just make it, oh, that's nice, that's better, or that's positive. We want to make it extreme because stress chemicals are stronger than feel-good chemicals. So we need a lot more of the feel-good chemicals to counteract the stress chemicals. Yes. So that's why you want to make it like, oh, so exciting. So brilliant. Tickets to Disney World because they were so proud of you, or something like that, whatever that entails. Good job, Swasti. That's fantastic.
I'm so happy with this progress. Before I felt like I was just stuck.
Yes.
Now I can see it. I can see the results. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Fantastic. You're very welcome. And I'm very grateful to you for being, for sharing, for being open and vulnerable so that others can learn from it as well. So thank you, Swasti, because I know that one of your dreams and ambitions is to help people.
Yeah.
You're already doing that through this.
I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Yes, you are already having a powerful impact on people through this. So well done, you. Good job, sweetheart. All right, and then Lisa. Hi, Lisa. How are you today?
Oh, good. How are you doing?
Very
It's
good.
so wonderful to see you all. It makes my heart swell with love.
Lovely, and the same for you.
Oh, thank you. I'm going to read something. Okay, so I always open books random for the group, so it'll be short and sweet. So if I have chosen wrongly, I forgive this thought and I choose again. I choose love. The presence of fear is your resistance to love. The way back to love is through surrendering to the present moment. The instant that you choose love over fear, you rise above illusion and separation and realign instead with oneness. And then I have a little card too. So I don't have to fear my fear. I can use it as a way to get closer to love. And as soon as I choose to see the light in the dark corners, I redirect my power towards what I want with love and light. Yay. So I wanted to share that one of my relatives has been listening in, and she's the swelling in her body has been going down significantly by sending her love. And she's so happy, oh my gosh, because she was so worried, and it's brought her anxiety level down, and her blood results look good. So she wrote a due justice letter with 3 pages. So she was so happy to do that. And she didn't really realize that she had all that stuff in her. But she feels so much better, and I want to thank you deeply. And she's so happy. Yeah. And,
I am so happy to hear that. Thank you so much, Lisa, for sharing that, because it'll encourage others as well. That is wonderful and good for her for doing it.
Yeah, and then she's been drawing hearts and seeing hearts all over her body and having a good time with it, and it's been really awesome for her. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. You're very welcome. I'm so thrilled. That really is amazing and wonderful.
Thank you.
Good job. And what's amazing about it, the reason I'm saying amazing is not that not the result, because I know that this works. I know that result. What's amazing is that she did it. She did it. And that is, so that's why I'm so proud of everyone who comes to these groups and who's doing it, because the, you know, the thing works, but it can be really difficult to do it and to stick to it, especially when things look bad or when it looks like something's not working. Just like physical exercise, it can be really difficult to keep going beyond those difficult challenges until you get the results. So that's why it is very impressive when especially a new person like her is able to has that determination and is able to do it. So
one thing I have to ask is, like, when you do one of those letters, can you, this was a question that was asked to me, can you incorporate a group of people or just one person at a time?
You can absolutely incorporate a group of people. Absolutely. And the very first letter I wrote was to both of my grandparents at once. It was Dear Granny and Grandpa, and then I stabbed the book to death. But that was my reaction. After me going, I've got no anger. I don't feel any anger. Fine. I don't need to write the letter. And my sister was going, just start, just try it. I resisted it for months. And eventually, fine, okay. Dear Granny and Grandpa, how could you? So wow. That it just because I'd been suppressing that anger for all of my life, and I don't know how old I was. I was probably 48 or 46 or something when I finally wrote that letter. So,
wow, that's awesome! You can do anything with that letter.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And I want to answer this because it relates. So Monika says, what do I do after writing the letter? So after writing the letter, you can just get rid of it straight away. What I like to do is read it as if I'm the other person. So I can imagine them reading it, but not everybody needs to do that. When you feel you're finished with it, then either tear it up and throw it away, or you can burn it ceremoniously, whatever feels good to you, and then sleep. So the sleep is very important, because while you're sleeping, your brain is processing the closure that you've just got and the changes and things, and then when you wake up, so you can either do it like before you go to bed at night, so that you've got a night's sleep, or if you're doing it like on a day off or something and you can go to sleep for an hour or two, fantastic. And it's going to be slightly different for different people. So whatever feels good for you. And then once you wake up, then change the memories. See if you can change the memories. Does that help? Does that answer the question? Good. Very good. Sorry, Lisa, do continue.
Oh, that's fine. Thank you. That's great. That's
You're
awesome.
Very welcome. Thank you again for a beautiful reading. Fantastic. All right. And Katrina. Hi, Katrina.
Hi, Odile.
How are you today?
Yes, I'm good. Yes.
I love your bow. That's very pretty. You look very pretty today.
Thank you. Okay. There is something that has popped up, and can we have a look at it?
Of course, always.
Okay, so I got a phone call yesterday to say a couple was calling tomorrow, which is tomorrow, yeah, to see me, and I go, yes, great. In the background, I went into panic mode. It was like, I felt as if I'm resenting them coming. Was not expecting them till next week.
Right.
Then I remember my mother getting news from my dad, oh, such and such is calling. And she seemed to resent the news as if she was being put out.
Yes.
Or was got on the hop or something. I am the same. If a friend or daughter is calling, I have to know well in advance, and I have to know the exact time, the date, and I get anxious. So now I have to get prepared for them coming tomorrow. So I'm getting anxious and I'm getting uncomfortable. What is this?
All right. This is a good one. This is a really good one. And I'm saying it's a really good one because it was so me. My sister and I, in fact, had this arrangement. This is my sister, who I'm very, very close to. We had an arrangement that we would never turn up unannounced. We would always let each other know, I'm thinking of popping around. Is it okay? That kind of thing. We both had a thing about people not just turning up. And the first time we went and turned up unannounced at Steve's parents, I was like, really? Shouldn't we let them know we're coming? And he was like, no. He doesn't even knock on the door. They just walk in and they're all fine about it. So the reason I'm saying that is because that has completely changed for me now too. So, but same thing, I remember my mother and my grandmother being furious when people were coming and, oh, got to clean up the place, and oh, why did they, and really agitated. So I completely get it. So here's, so first of all, of course, you do want to change them, change your mum rather, that she was always, oh, you can always just pop in. Don't worry about it, just pop in. And her saying to you and to your dad, oh, so-and-so's coming round, or there's the doorbell. Oh, wonderful. And opening the door and being happily surprised because someone's come without announcing. But it's such a lovely surprise. It's wonderful to see them. Very relaxed. There's no need to prepare because my house is your house. Come on in. Everything's relaxed. Help yourself. Let's not stand on ceremony. Whatever sayings can support this. Yeah, relax. Have a cup of tea. We're busy with this, but that can wait. That kind of thing. So that it's all very relaxed. So that's one piece. Now the second piece is what is it? So when you think of these people coming tomorrow, what's the worst thing about it? Or what's wrong with it? What's the problem with them coming?
Well, one of them is driving it. They have never been here before.
Okay.
So it's, I don't know, it must be, I don't know, feeling judged. Judged
by them?
Yeah, but that seems crazy, because
yes,
I don't think this person will be judging,
Yes. And so the reason I asked that question was just to make sure that there were no other pieces there of other references. So what it looks like is that there is no actual real reason. But what is happening is your subconscious is just reacting the way your mother reacted for no actual reason. So your subconscious referring to your mum's example and then prompting those stress chemicals in your system, and your conscious mind is interpreting it to be these people are coming and it's an inconvenient, or they didn't give me enough notice, or I was only expecting them next week, whatever, because the conscious mind's job is to find reasons for something, reasons for the feelings, but the feelings are actually coming from childhood. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but how will I be sorted?
Okay. Yes, the most important thing. So when you think of your mum, are you able to imagine her, what I was describing earlier, just being thrilled when people come around? She loves having, you can't imagine that. Okay, good. So now let's look at her childhood. So have you rewritten her childhood to where everybody's relaxed and happy and supportive and loving and affectionate?
Well, I put mum and dad into the same family, but I probably shouldn't have.
Well, no, there's no such thing as shouldn't, and that's one piece of data. So now if you want to, you can create, and it's okay to have them in the same family, or you can create a new piece for your mum, and your subconscious won't question that because it can't use logical reasons. So it'll just take all of the information as separate data. Does that make sense? So you want to, do you know anything about your mum's parents? How were they with visitors?
No, because both parents were dead and her brother before she was married.
Okay.
So there's not.
Okay. So, but when she was growing up, when she was a child, your mum, do you know anything about her childhood? What it was like? Do you know anything about what her parents were like?
Well, her brother died, and then the father died. So then it was just mum and her, and then they moved to. They were sort of out here, and they really moved to a very nice family.
Okay.
So I always thought she was brought up here,
Right.
this place that was sort of posh, but her actual roots were very poor. But she never, so she always associated herself with this.
Yes. And I would suspect that with that kind of background story, that she felt judged. I could be wrong, but that would make sense. If she was coming from a poor situation and she moved with her mum to a wealthy area, it's very, very possible that she always had that background feeling of being judged. And she may have had that same thing with people coming around, that what are they going to think? You know, I haven't had time to get into a respectable state or impression or whatever. Does that make sense?
Well, her home where we were brought up, it was always immaculate. So there was nothing to do with, oh, you were going to get her and the place was in a mess.
Right, physically, but in her head, in her subconscious, because remember, it's not logical. So, and I've seen people with the most immaculate places and they go, oh, sorry about the mess. And you go, where is this mess you speak of? You know, so, and you know, people who look beautiful but think they're ugly, or people who are slim and think they're fat. So, you know, there's a lot of, it's all about this, what the subconscious has inside the references, rather than what's actually physically present.
Something's coming up there in that, where I have been. Is this thing about judging again? Because
yes,
I was up there and I'm down here.
Yes. Very good. So that's the judgment thing. So, and you know, because you mentioned it earlier, that intellectually and consciously, you know that these people who are coming, actually, it happens to be that they wouldn't judge. That happens to be who it is. So that's a great opportunity to really dig down and change this with the knowledge that it is only subconscious. There's no real reason, because sometimes it could be a reason. You know, there are some people who are critical and judgmental, but luckily this happens to be not one of those situations. So I would say, do what you can to change your mum's childhood so that she never should, there's no poor area, that doesn't even exist. She grew up in this wealthy house, that wherever she ended up with the wealthy area, she grew up there, and both her parents were with her. Her dad didn't die. So she was raised by both parents in this beautifully wealthy area, whatever it is. So she had this automatic confidence, natural, authentic confidence. And you can add in little memories. You can create little memories of her saying, you know, people don't judge. People, and this is true, people are too busy worrying about what you think of them to worry about what they think of you. That is, most of the time, that's what it is. Everybody's worried about what you think of them, not the other way around. And when it does happen the other way around, it's to feel better about themselves. So it's always, each individual, it's about what's happening inside me. Does that make sense? So that's for the logical side. And then change your mum's childhood, and then change her when you were growing up, so that it's an open house. And it's relaxed. You can even add in some things where she, things are lying around. It's a little bit, you don't want chaos, but just like it's not perfect. It's just relaxed. It's a beautiful, relaxed home. It's wealthy, but anybody can drop in at any time, and it's lovely. So, create new memories of people, the doorbell ringing, and your mum going, oh, I wonder who that can be. And open, oh, hello, and they come in, and everybody relaxes and enjoys themselves. So create that, put on some music, create those wonderful, that atmosphere.
But what do I do with her resentment and my resentment?
Okay, so again, if you can't just change it, so the resentment is there, and start with hers rather than yours, because yours is coming from hers. So you want to go the root. So her resentment, how do you know about the resentment? Can you change the resentment? Let's put it there. Can you imagine her being relaxed and happy in that, or is the resentment still a feature there?
Well, I can just see her getting so annoyed, Dad just popping in, and he said, right, in 10 minutes, the guys will be in and, have a cup of tea ready, and she just,
Right, yes. Okay, so, and can you imagine her as a child with her friends just pop round? Her friends from school or whoever she likes, they pop round and she's thrilled.
Okay.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And her mum says, of course, come on in. And her mum makes snacks and drinks and whatever for her friends, for all of them. Says, go and play. You're always welcome here. So that kind of foundation. Now, what I'm suspecting, and I could be wrong, but what I think is that there may also be an additional reference there with the relationship of your mum and your dad. In other words, there may be an extra feature in that situation, that it's not just someone's popping in and it's 10 minutes, but the irritation may have been at your dad because of whatever was the dynamic there, that perhaps, so some possibilities are she may have felt not valued by your dad or taken advantage, or he always does this, he always does that. So any of those references that you have, change those as well, where your dad is the one saying, no, you sit down, I'll prepare for them, I'll do it. There you go. Right? So let's say he says to your mum, he gives her favorite magazine or makes her a cup of tea or whatever, and said, no, you sit down, relax, I'll sort this out, I'll get ready for them. And
I was going to say, he didn't value her emotionally. There was no connection, no emotional. I've never seen them hugging, kissing, being affectionate, talking affectionate, and then him demanding this.
Spot on. So that's where that root is that won't let you change her resentment, because her resentment was not about the people coming round. Her resentment was not being valued, cared for, loved, respected, supported. No affection. So if you create memories now of, and again, you may need to change their childhoods to make this happen, and that's okay, but create memories of your mum and dad so in love, and your dad taking care of your mum, the way it would have been if they'd grown up differently, if they'd grown up being cared for and lots of affection, everybody's relaxed, everybody's supportive, everybody's self-esteem is high enough to be generous with their attention, with their affection, with their love, with their praise, with their compliments. Create memories of your dad complimenting and thanking your mum and saying, I am so lucky, and saying to you, sweetheart, you know what? I am the luckiest man in the world. I have your mum, who is the most beautiful, most wonderful, sweetest woman in the world, and I have you, the most perfect child in the world. All right, that's what you're aiming for. And then create memories of him getting her to sit down, put her feet up, watch her favorite TV program or read a magazine with a cup of tea, makes her a cup of tea. He says, no, you've done enough, I'll do this, with all kinds of things. So housework, And then, of course, visitors coming round, he can say something like, you know what, they're my friends. I'll take care of it. You don't need to do anything. You relax and enjoy. How does that sound?
Yes.
Good. Lots of
amazing. Okay.
Lots of I love yous between them, lots of affection between them, lots of fun between them. So they dance, they play games, they do a lot of stuff together.
And this is all going to help me.
Absolutely, because so it makes perfect sense. All of that resentment based on so many references, evidence that proves your mum was resentful. So because she didn't get, bless her heart, she wasn't getting the affection she needed, she wasn't getting the attention she needed, and she wasn't getting the support, and can you imagine, she wouldn't have felt nice. And so now he's inviting people over and she's the one that has to prepare for it. Of course she was resentful. And of course you, being the child, because bearing in mind, we learn more by experiencing something and witnessing something than we do by being told something. So you were watching your mum do this and your brain recorded the link. Someone's coming, this is how you react. This is the response. This is what it means, and this is so when someone's coming over, you need to produce the stress chemicals. That's how it works. That's what is currently set up in your programming. Now you're going to change it, because what you want to do is when you change those memories to what I've described here, the opposite, positive, empowering, the end result, once you've done that, is going to be someone's coming, oh, that's great, that's fun, yay, oh, it's no trouble.
You are coming next week, Odile.
Yeah, Steve and I are going to pop round unannounced.
Yes.
Come to my place. Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Well, that's, honest to God, that would be so empowering to me because all my life I've been like this and it's horrible.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's holding you back from enjoying life.
Yeah, big time.
People coming over can be such fun.
Oh yes, once they're there, I'm settled, but it's the build-up.
Yes.
I hate it.
Yeah. And so the great news is it probably won't take long to change. Once you've changed your mum and your dad, where they are, supportive of each other, your dad is supportive of your mum, helping her, affectionate, kind, and compassionate. He really cares. He wants her to be happy and safe and enjoying herself.
Okay.
Then that will happen automatically. That will change automatically for you.
Okay.
All right.
Well, I look forward to what do you call it? Looking forward to celebrating my news with you on Monday.
Yes, yay. So make that your top priority, and then in addition to that, whenever you go into your superpower state, when you're practicing, fill those people with the same love, the same superpower. Fill your home with the superpower, regardless of what it looks like or what whether you get stuff done or you don't, and fill that part of you that is worried and anxious. Fill that part of you with that light, that love, exactly as it is. All right.
I want to pop in and say, I think this was a great example of a pattern or a program that we picked up from the family tradition. As you were talking about this one, I was reminded of my mother being somebody who was very anxious about having people come over, and she would work herself up, especially around a holiday. She would work herself up into she had a name for it, but she would basically be bedbound for a couple of days prior to the holiday because her anxiety was so bad. And then what I recognized once I started working on this is like, oh my gosh, she learned that from her father, who learned that from his father. So it was just this family tradition of anxiety that just got passed down and amplified in one way or another. And nobody knew exactly why they were doing it anymore. You know, it's just that this is how you react in that situation. So, you know, the good news is that in changing that story, for me, it was going back, and I had to go back 3 generations because I actually had living memory of my great grandfather, and I knew him to be, you know, a very old at that point, highly anxious man. And so changing that up and changing that story and seeing the family tradition then changing, and then knowing inside that I could say with honesty that I come from a long line of people, you know, who are calm and easygoing, and they can have people over to the house, and it's, you know, it really is a wonderful thing. So anyway, thank you for bringing that one up, because I think it was just a great example of a program that we pick up just by watching or inheriting it from the family system.
Lovely, thank you.
I just feel so blessed, honestly. It's just amazing, honestly.
Yay. And we feel blessed to have you as well. I'm sure you'll see in the chat there how it affects others when you share this kind of stuff. So, you know, this is the ultimate win-win-win-win-win situation where everyone's a winner, baby. And because we genuinely love this, we love what we do, we love seeing people empower themselves and make these changes, it's wonderful for us too. So, you know, it really is lovely, and we do appreciate everybody.
Okay.
All right, sweetheart. Good job. You have a fantastic time tomorrow and over the weekend, and let us know how it goes.
Yes.
Good job. All right. So, Steve, was there anything in the
Yeah, there's one question from off camera. Why am I more emotional in the morning than later in the day?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes. So on a chemical level, so there may well be references, there's probably references as well, but just on a chemical level to let you know, it may be a serotonin thing, but the most likely, so that's the chemical side of it, but that will be caused by subconscious references. So what I would ask is, in your childhood, what would happen in the morning? So how was your childhood in the morning? So I've worked with clients, for example, who, there was one client who, her mum was always slept in. I can't remember what the situation was, probably depressed. And so this little thing had to get herself up in the morning and get herself ready for school when she was little, and it was very depressing. So as an adult, waking up, her brain would trigger that feeling of depression because it was how she felt waking up as a child. So for others, it might be that, you know, one morning they woke up and someone had died or a pet had died. And then their brain made that link with something as big as that, made a link. This is what mornings are, or this is how to be safe in the morning. Start producing stress chemicals before you wake up so that you're ready to fight, freeze, flight, you know, whatever that is. So, yeah, so what were mornings like when you were a child? And or do you ever remember a morning as a child where something happened, something specific happened in the morning? So that's a possibility, and without being able to ask questions back and forth, hopefully that helps. If not, let me know in the chat. Oh, you're on. Hey, lovely to see you. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, I was going to respond by the chat, but it got frozen, so I can't get back to you.
Oh, okay. All right. So does any of that ring a bell? Something in the morning as a child?
No, not a specific memory. I think it's more a chemistry thing because as the day goes on, I get much stronger in my emotions. But in the morning, I can melt into tears in almost a heartbeat.
Yes. So chemically, that is a common thing for people. And chemically, it's about, and don't want to go into too much detail on that, but about serotonin uptake and that kind of thing, because the brain and body produce serotonin before we wake up in the morning, so that we're feeling good when we wake up, so we have the energy. But serotonin also regulates sleep, so there's a lot going on there. But as we know, we can produce our own serotonin by choosing what we're focusing on through those connections in the neocortex. So what I would suggest first thing is, before you go to sleep at night, plan the first thing you're going to think about or focus on when you wake up, and make it something simple. So your favorite color, or an animal you love, something like that, one of your grandchildren, something like that. Even have a photograph next to your bed if you like. And know that you're probably going to wake up feeling that not nice feeling, but you're not going to buy into it, because it's just a chemical thing. But what happens is we feel that feeling, and then the conscious mind starts finding reasons, and that's when you end up in tears, because the conscious mind is looking for reasons and putting them all together and going, this is a really good reason to feel bad. So it takes a little bit of willpower to override that and go, no, I'm going to look at the photograph of my beautiful grandchild, or think about an animal I love, or even just starting with the favorite color. And you are then physiologically taking control and changing your own brain chemistry. Does that sound good?
Yeah, I have a mantra I do at night that feels awesome, so I could do that as soon as I wake up.
Perfect. Yes. Very good idea. Good job. And the other thing for other people watching as well, another idea is music. Before you even get out of bed, have your phone next to you and switch on whatever music makes you feel good. That's another way, because music can be very effective, especially for certain people. Some people more than others. All right. Does that help?
No, that's nice. Thank you.
Good job. You're very welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to read out that Lisa put into the chat, plan the day, the night before with love.
Yes.
And that, I think, is something that works well for me, is as you're thinking, as you're falling asleep, planning how you're going to wake up in the morning, and planning it. So I will self-disclose that I had went through a period of time where I would be waking up at 4:30 in the morning, and it would take me about 5 or 10 seconds before I kicked into that anxiety. Not a surprise. The family tradition was anxiety, so it would kick in. And I know that one of the things that I would do is do that planning before, and then have a plan to step into something different. And for me, getting up and doing exercise right away, or getting up and doing meditation right away. So knowing what I'm going to do as soon as I get there, because laying in bed never worked. It just continued to amplify. The conscious mind kept looking for more reasons to be anxious, and it just kept amplifying the negative feelings.
Yeah. Yes. So getting moving physically automatically changes your chemical state. So if you're able to go for a walk or do something else physical, that's really good. And then, as Steve said, so I would think, wake up in the morning, I think, oh, I'm going to have a cup of tea. That was when I was in England. Now I think coffee, so plan what you're going to have and look forward to those things. So coffee, and then, a book, an audio book you love, or music, or whatever you love to do. All right, very good. Thank you for sharing that as well, Steve. Okay, so let's go into the targeting phase of the session. And Steve, if you could send me the targets, please. All right, so take a deep breath and either close your eyes or leave them open, whichever you prefer. Go into your superpower state, however you do that. by using your word or phrase or your anchor, or imagining holding your subject in your arms as in a hug. Start to feel your chest expanding, your heart opening. That wonderful feeling in your chest of expansion. Allowing that light, that energy to shine out from your heart. And now allowing that light or energy to spread down to your toes, up to the top of your head, and out to your fingertips. So you're now full of that light, that energy. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill each of the 50 trillion cells that make up your body. Love each cell just for existing. Good job. And now allow that light or energy to fill your subject. And then imagine your subject doesn't want to be with you, or they don't have the qualities that you love and admire about them, and keep them filled with that light, that energy anyway. Love them anyway, exactly as they are. Very good. And now allow that light or energy to fill Monika from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Monika just for existing. Very good. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Monika and fill her daughter. From the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Monika's daughter exactly as she is. And no matter what she's experiencing, shining that light into any darkness. Now allowing that light or energy to overflow from Monika's daughter and fill her husband with that same light, that energy, that love. From the tips of his toes to the top of his head and out to his fingertips. Love Monika's daughter's husband exactly as he is, and even if he never changes. Shining that light into any darkness, loving it all exactly as it is. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from him and fill his whole family exactly as they are. Fill them with that light, that energy, that love, loving them all exactly as they are. Shining that light into the darkness. Feeling that power. Very, very good. And now over to Katrina. Fill Katrina with that light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Katrina just for existing. Now allow that light or energy to overflow from Katrina and fill the part of her that's anxious or annoyed or whatever that is that's resisting people coming to visit. Whatever that part is, wherever it comes from, however it responds, love that part of Katrina exactly as it is. Shining the light into any darkness, filling it with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as it is. And now allowing that light or energy to overflow from Katrina and fill her whole home with that light, that energy, and everything and everyone in it. And then thinking about tomorrow, filling that light, that energy, filling the home, filling Katrina tomorrow, that version of Katrina. Tomorrow with that same light, that energy, no matter what, no matter how she responds or reacts or behaves or thinks or feels or what she experiences, loving it all exactly as it is. And then allowing that light, that energy to fill Katrina's partner and the visitors with that same light, that energy, exactly as they are, no matter what, shining the light into any darkness, loving it all anyway. And finally, allowing that light, that energy to fill Katrina's parents, exactly as they were, with no need to change. Whether they're affectionate or not, whether they support each other or not, whether her mum is annoyed or anxious or angry or whatever, people coming or not, love it all exactly as it is, shining that light into the darkness. Very, very good. Good job. And now over to Kathy. Fill Kathy with that same light, that energy, that love, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Kathy just for existing. Very good. And now I want you to think of Kathy tomorrow morning, waking up tomorrow morning, and fill that version of Kathy with that same light, that energy, that love, whether she feels bad or not. Whatever feelings and thoughts are there, whatever she does, whatever she experiences, fill that version of her with that light, that energy, that love, loving her exactly as she is, without needing her to change. Shining that light into any darkness of emotions, negative emotions. Very good. And now let's go to Lisa. Fill Lisa with that light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Lisa just for existing. Very good. And allow that light, that energy to overflow from Lisa and fill her cousin with that same light, that energy, that love. And fill her cousin's stomach with that same light, that energy, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all exactly as it is. Every cell of her stomach, fill it with that light, that energy, love each cell just for existing, no matter what. Very good. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Lisa and fill the financial situations and circumstances of everyone in the world exactly as they are, shining that light into any darkness, loving it all exactly as it is. Very, very good. And now to Swasti. Fill Swasti with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Swasti just for existing. Very good. And now allow that light, that energy to overflow from Swasti and fill the health situations, whether people are calm or happy or not around the planet. So all the health, no matter what it is, exactly as it is, shine that light. All the emotional situations, whether people are happy or not, love them all exactly as they are. All the circumstances, all the events. Shining that light into any darkness, feeling your power as you do that. And now let's fill Tina with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Tina just for existing. Very good. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Tina and fill her workplace and everyone in it, no matter what, loving it all exactly as it is. Good job. And now to Chris. Fill Chris with that same light, that energy, from the tips of her toes to the top of her head and out to her fingertips. Love Chris just for existing. And allow that light or energy to overflow from Chris and fill whatever procrastination is there. Whatever that procrastination is, and wherever it comes from, fill it with light and love. Procrastination, writing the new timeline or story, fill it all with light and love exactly as it is, whether she procrastinates or not. Very good. And now to the person with the family member who has some unhealthy ways of thinking. Fill that person with that light, that energy, that love. Love them exactly as they are, just for existing. And then allow that light, that energy to overflow from them and fill their family member. The family member who has some unhealthy ways of thinking. Fill them with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as they are, whether they have unhealthy ways of thinking or not. Whether they change or not, love them exactly as they are, shining that light into any darkness. And now to everyone who's off camera today, love all of them, fill all of them with that light, that energy, from the tips of their toes to the top of their head and out to their fingertips. Everyone who's off camera and everyone who's watching the recording, love each one. Just for existing. Very, very good. And yourself later today, fill that version of you with this light, this energy, no matter what you'll be doing or feeling or experiencing. Allow yourself to be filled with that light, that energy, that love, exactly as you are. No matter what. Very good. And now finally pick one target that triggers you. A person, an event, a circumstance, whatever it is. Could be in your own life or it could be in the world, doesn't matter. And fill that target with that same light, that energy, even if it never changes. Love the worst case scenario exactly as it is, shining that light into the darkness. And this is your power. Very, very good. All right, you can open your eyes. And how was that for everyone? That was good. And I really love that bow on your head, the band with the bow. It's so pretty. I love the color and it's just so cute. And okay, so yes, and Steve just reminded me to remind you that we'll be back next week. So we will be continuing next week. I will make sure that the new registration link is on the website page, and we will make sure that that page is in the description of this video. So have a fantastic weekend. Look after yourselves. Keep practicing, of course, and just a reminder to continue using inanimate objects for target practice, because it's not about the object, it's about getting those chemicals into your system. So every time you practice on an inanimate object, every time you love that coffee mug or the chair or the window, you're producing feel-good chemicals in your system physiologically. So you're very, very welcome. Thank you for all the lovely comments in the chat. And we look after yourselves, and we will see you all on Monday. All right, bye-bye now. Lots of love to all of you.